Brandon Costa from SVG back with you with another edition of SVG SportsTech On Demand, taking you around the world of live sports video production technology here in 2021. We're going to talk to our friends now at JB&A. We have the pleasure to be joined by Nick Smith. He's VP of Technology for the company. Nick, wonderful to see you. Hope you're doing well. How's you and everyone at the team?
Hey, surviving, growing, experiencing the ups and downs like everybody else, the shelter effect, I should say. But no, just excited to see the world reemerging, right? And things coming back. So, nothing but optimism here.
Yeah, feeling that. We're getting there. But a lot of production still being done very similar to how we're talking right now. We're talking about remote, REMI, at home, whatever you want to call it. And it used to be that at-home production meant you did it in your home facility. Now people are literally doing it in their actual homes. They're rolling out of bed and doing productions, which is wild. You guys have been very involved in kind of helping implement some technologies that are enabling that and streamlining that for people. What's new in the world of setting up broadcasters, sports or not, to succeed in a world that we're in today?
Well, I think the biggest one is the remote interview, right? We talked about this last year, and there was all these just great tools, like everybody releasing an encoder, a decoder, some kind of platform for remote interview. And then when New Tech dropped NDI, some of the new NDI tools mid last year, and specifically like the TC2 that had Teams and Skype and Slack and all these tools built into it, we immediately saw like an eruption of change, because now it sort of facilitated an easier workflow, less gear, and you could connect with anybody without worrying about the gear, right? I mean, what we're doing now is completely possible due to tools like that. I mean, just the rise in Zoom and Teams alone, and how it's been embraced by the general market to create content, right? And to generate as much interesting content as possible. And so that was the big polar shift, and the demand for it's just been overwhelming from that perspective. Just the number of people going, how do I use this? How do I do it? How do I get the best quality out of it? And how do we do it, not necessarily on the cheap, but most affordably?
Sure. And that ease of use, as you kind of said, for people who are needing to kind of set up their own home video technology setups, whether they're guests, interview guests, like you said, or on-air talent, they don't have the benefit of having those engineers and technicians around them that they are in a studio. So as you're kind of saying, that ease of use for people to be able to pop on and feel good about their video quality, but not have it be a huge front load has really been massive for helping people create more content kind of like this.
Well, and if you think about it, like in the past, the need to send somebody to a studio, it may not be to your studio, but you're going to do remote. You got to get to, CBS, you got to get to one of the big studios so we can remote you in. And now it's like, hey, pop on in your home office, right? Get on this call with me and let's chat it out right now. So this immediacy that we've joined into, where it's like, we can grab somebody now. We're no longer waiting. We can get the message, we can get the medium, we can grab that content now, because we're not waiting for the technology to arrive to meet us, right? It's here, it's ready to go. And I think part of that is just how NDI has fit into all of that. This new thing within, I don't know if anybody's turned on Teams lately, but there's now a broadcast NDI sitting inside of Teams. And so we're powering these workflows with people where they just have a system set up with Teams running, they flip a switch, and now all the interviewers are all isolated and ISO'd into a TriCaster or into a vMix or an OBS. So it's not even just about New Tech anymore. It's this NDI technology has now become ubiquitous amongst a host of different players, where no matter your budget, you can find a way to start producing remote, right? So this is boiling down into the high school level now, where the esports level, where we're seeing all different levels of sports saying, we can do this now. We don't need a massive budget to get started and start generating eyeballs.
Yeah, and it's enabling so much, like you said. As you look ahead to the next 6 to 12 months, as you said, you're optimistic, we're optimistic. We're hopeful that sports is going to get back to a space where we can have more fans in the stands, and we can kind of go back to some of the parts of this whole live sports production game that we genuinely love and actually find benefit in. But when you look at how the last year has impacted the landscape, how do you see the next handful of months kind of playing out as we sit in this bit of a hybrid world right now?
Yeah, so what I'm starting to hear a lot more from people right now is, how do I monetize it on my own? And it's how do I, because what everybody's embraced, and it's not just sports, it's all live events in general, have said, hey, we can still play, we can still reach our audience even if they're not in the building. One thing I want is to be able to go back in the stadium and have some popcorn and a coney dog and join in, right? I want to be there again. I want to be with people. But I think for the teams, they're now looking at, well, how do we engage an audience that isn't in the stadium, even when people are back in the stadium? How can we go back and monetize that? Now, at the top levels, the MLB is anybody with a 3-letter acronym. They've been doing it for years. But I think now the smaller teams, the smaller franchises, the others are recognizing the opportunity to build an audience base that's not always on premise with them. And so they're going to, they're really that hybrid approach of some in, some out. Let's do this thing. And that's where I'm getting more and more requests. How do I get my content out there? How do I put a ticket on it? So how do I monetize it to make money off of the viewers that are all remote rather than just the tickets and the seats?
Really exciting opportunities for sports broadcasters and rights holders of any shape and size. Nick, thanks so much for joining us and being a part of it. And of course, more importantly, thanks to you and everyone at the JB&A team for all the work that you guys are doing, putting into help keeping the sports video production community afloat right now. Really appreciate what you guys are up to.
We love to watch. We love to play. We love to be a part of it.
Thanks, all right, Nick. He's Nicholas Smith. He is VP of Technology for JB&A. Definitely check more out of what they're up to. You can see more from them and some other interviews that we've done in this SVG Sports Tech On Demand series. Just head on over to sportsvideo.org for more.